Hello, boys and girls. Today, we're going to work on our strategy, check for understanding. While we're reading, we want to make sure we understand what's happening. So, if you're reading a picture book, after a page, ask yourself, do I know who the characters are? Do I know where the story is taking place? Do I know what happened? Could I retell this to somebody? If the answer is yes, keep on reading. If your answer is no, then you need to back up and reread. Let's practice. I'm going to read the story, The Most Magnificent Thing, and I'm going to model my checking for understanding. This is a regular girl and her best friend in the whole wide world. They do all kinds of things together. They race, they eat, they explore, they relax. She makes things, he unmakes things. One day, the girl has a wonderful idea. She is going to make the most magnificent thing. Okay, I'm checking for understanding. Do I know who this story is about? Yep, it's about a little girl and her best friend who's a dog, and they are going to make something magnificent. I understand, so I'm going to keep reading. She knows just how it will look. She knows just how it will work. All she has to do is make it. And she makes things all the time. Easy peasy. First, she hires an assistant. Okay, I'm at the end of my page, so I'm going to check for understanding. Okay, so she understands what it is that she wants to make, so she needs help to make it. I understand, so I'm going to move on. Next, they gather their supplies. They set up somewhere out of the way and get to work. Okay, I'm at the end of my page, so I'm going to check for understanding. They're getting what they need in order to build their magnificent thing. I understand, so I'm going to move on. The girl tinkers and hammers and measures, while her assistant pounces and growls and chews. When she is finished, she steps back to admire her work. She walks around one side. Her assistant examines the other side. It doesn't look right. Her assistant picks it up and gives it a shake. It doesn't feel right either. They are shocked to discover that the thing isn't magnificent or good. It isn't even kinda sorta okay. It's all wrong. The girl tosses it aside and gives it another go. Okay, I've reached the bottom of this page. I'm going to check for understanding. Okay, so I know that it's the little girl and she's trying to build something and her assistant is helping her along, but not really because he's just chewing and pouncing because he's just a dog. But I don't really understand what happened after the dog helped. I remember this side of the page, so I'm going to back up and reread the second page because that's where I lost understanding. When she is finished, she steps back to admire her work. Okay, I know admire means that she really is looking at it and seeing how awesome she did. Okay, I'm understanding a little better. She walks around one side. Okay, I'm visualizing her walking around. Her assistant examines the other side. Examines is a really big word to just means look around. It doesn't look right. So they're walking around and they decide it's not what they wanted it to look like. Her assistant picks it up again and gives it a shake. It doesn't feel right either. So they've made this amazing thing, but it's not what they thought it was going to be. They're shocked to discover that this thing isn't magnificent or good. Okay, so I'm checking still for understanding because I didn't understand, so I'm going slower. Okay, this is a magnificent thing. And they were surprised that they weren't able to make it even though they imagined it. It's all wrong. The girl tosses it aside and gives it another go. Okay, so I'm understanding that she's wanting to try again because it didn't turn out the way she thought it was going to. So I'm going to keep reading. She smooths and wrenches and fiddles. Her assistant circles and tugs and wags. When she is finished, she stands up and takes a long look at it. Her assistant gives it a nudge with his paw. This thing is all wrong, she decides to try again. Okay, so I'm checking for understanding. She's messing with it. She's trying to make that thing she made before into something better, but it's still not the way she wants it to be. So she's going to try again. And I'm looking at the picture, and I can tell she's starting to get annoyed. Okay, boys and girls, I have modeled. Now I want you to check and see if you're understanding on the next page. The girl saws and glues and adjusts. She stands and examines and stares. She twists and tweaks and fastens. She fixes and straightens and studies. Are you understanding? If not, pause and rewind and re-listen to it. If you are, I'm going to keep reading. She tries all different ways to make it better. She makes it square, she makes it round, she gives it legs, she adds antennae, she makes it fuzzy, she makes it long, short, rough, smooth, big, small. One even smells of stinky cheese. But none of them are magnificent. Make sure you're checking for understanding. Her hard work attracts a few admirers, but they don't understand. They can't see the magnificent thing that she has in her mind. She gets mad because I'm checking for understanding, and she's mad because she has this magnificent thing that she has in her mind, but she can't seem to make it she can't seem to get it from out of her head into this object and make it. All right, boys and girls. We're going to stop here, and we will pick up this story later on this week. Remember, when we're reading, we want to check for understanding. Do I understand who it was about, where it is, what happened? Do I understand the words? If you don't understand, make sure you back up and reread.